Hello everyone, Giltar here with an action figure review. This time we're looking at the Dio Brando action figure from Medicos Entertainment's Super Action Statue line of products. This action figure originally was released in November 2009 and retails for 3,500 yen. I actually bought both Dio Brando and Jotaro Kujo from AmiAmi.com at a slight discount. They're both 3,500 yen, or about $37 normally, but I bought them for $29.30 each, so about $32 American for each action figure. And also, like the Jotaro Kujo action figure, Dio Brando is from manga, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which has been adapted into video games and anime. And also, like JoJo, or Jotaro rather, Dio comes with many accessories. So let's start off with the 3 heads you could use. It comes packaged with this one head sculpt that has kind of a slight smirk to its expression. It also comes with this sort of neutral expression face. And then I also have this face here, which has a sort of an evil grin on Dio's expression. Now all 3 heads are very nicely sculpted. The details are great, such as the hair and even the facial features, the expressions, the hand painted things like the eyes, like the eyebrows, outlines of the eyes, the irises, extra sort of accents on the flesh to give it more depth. The hair, for example, also has extra paint work because it's a base, I think, color of yellow with highlights of sort of a brown paint to give it more depth and kind of bring it into more of a sort of a dirty blonde look. And even the headband here, while it is green, has, I think, some gold or yellow highlights to it to give it a more rich and sort of realistic texture. And all 3 head sculpts have slightly different hair, I guess, sculpting, which is also a nice touch. You don't have simply just different expressions. You have also different sculpted hair. Now next up are hands. Jotaro Kujo comes with 12 hands. Dio comes with 13. Starting off, we have a pair of sort of these spread-fingered hands, which come attached to the figure in the box. We have a sort of pinching thumb and index finger hand, which you can use to hold one of the 6 knives this figure comes with. It's not a part of the hand, you just put it in and it pinches onto the blade and holds it there by friction. Another spread-fingered hand with sort of contorted fingers for the ring and pinky fingers. A pointing finger hand. Another spread-fingered hand, a pair of them. Also a pair of grip hands you'd use here to grip this traffic sign, which is a really nice accessory. It has a nice sculpt, really weathered and beaten up look to it. The paint applications look very nice too. It looks like it kind of looks like a miniature realistic street sign that's been roughed up. I really like this accessory. And a pair of sort of punching fist hands, and as I mentioned earlier, it does come with a total of 6 knives, which have a nice sculpt to them. They're small, so you better be careful with them. You don't want to lose them. I believe they're in a sort of a combination of a sort of silver or metallic paint with some darker paint brushed over to accent and highlight them. I do apologize for the poor quality of my camera. It's been mentioned before and I'm quite aware of it, so I'm working towards getting a better camera, because this is a product that has really great details which I can't unfortunately properly show off in this review here. Now moving on next to the figure itself, we still have 2 other hands. These 2 hands are basically holding several knives each. They are fixed posed hands. The knives are not separate. They're basically attached to the hands, so you can't take them apart. But they're nice for posing, and for anybody who's sort of aware or knowledgeable about Dio, you'll like these accessories. Now, another thing to mention is that those knives, those 6 knives that come with the action figure, can actually be stored on the figure. The belt component here is actually a loose piece, and you can put the knives behind the belt here to basically stuff them there and pose the figure with the knives in place, which is a nice touch. Another point of sort of accessory, or clothing sort of accessory on the figure, is the collar here. It's a separate piece as well. You can remove it if you wanted to. So next up will be articulation. Basically has most of the same points of articulation as Jotaro. So it has a bending toe, hinged ankle and rotation ability, double jointed knees above and below the knee to allow a significant bend. The hips do differ from Jotaro in that it's sort of a more traditional ball joint connection. So it does allow rotation and some bending back and forth. Not a lot though. You can bend forward nice, but not a lot backwards. But you don't need to. The suspender belts here are hinged, both of them. The waist has one point of articulation for rotation. And there's a point of articulation at just below the rib cage to allow bending and rotation. Unlike Jotaro, there's only 2 points of articulation in the main torso area. It doesn't have a third one above the rib cage. However, Dio has a sort of extra point of articulation in the neck. Where the base of the neck connects to the torso, there's a hinge, so you can actually bend the base of the neck back and forth. And then at the top of the neck, it's also hinged to allow you to bend it right at the top of the neck. And finally, the head itself is attached via ball joint. I'll just show that here. And so with the head attached, you can bend the head itself, rotate it, and actually give it a wide degree of movement. So that's really nice to see there. The shoulders are similar to Jotaro's in that they do have hinged movement and rotation, but they don't connect at the torso to allow sort of back and forward or up and down movement at the shoulder itself and the torso. The elbow does have 2 points of articulation, so it does allow a significant bend. So there's a bend or a point of articulation at below and above the elbow there. Finally, the hand is just like Jotaro's in that it can it's hinged to bend and rotates. I don't believe I demonstrated this with my review of Jotaro, so you can actually attach the hands like this. They're just simply straight pegs that go into ports here in the hand. So that does it for accessory and articulation, though I just did notice that I forgot to mention that this action figure also comes with a display stand. And so, I guess I'll move into the pros and cons. And I have to say that they're pretty much just like what I mentioned for Jotaro. I have 3 cons. There's something slightly different here with Dio. My 3 cons are, and I'll list my first 2 as the relatively high price. It is $37 or so normally. While it does have good range of articulation, if you're used to things like Figma, Revoltech, Robot Damashi, SH Figuarts, or the SIC lines, which have really great articulation for all of them, this is below their level somewhat, but not to a terrible degree. But that is something to keep in mind if you are used to action figures that can be rolled up into pretzel balls. Now, my third con for Dio is that he does have relatively weak joints at the knees and at the ankles, so it can be tricky posing the figure. If you're a newcomer to action figures and you're not used to posing things, it might be frustrating for some people, and you might have to rely upon the action or rather display stand. So those are my 3 cons: relatively high price, not the greatest articulation, and some weakness issues in the knee and ankle joints. Now, moving on to the pros, I'll start off with 2 counters. First of all, the price, while it is high, it is within the normal range for high-end Japanese action figure products, and that's what this is. It's a high-end action figure. It's not a $10, Transformer that you would give to a 10-year-old kid. This is something that really is for adult collectors, to be honest. Secondly, while it doesn't have the greatest range of articulation, it does have a good range of articulation for action figures in general. So, I mean, yeah, it's not an acrobat or a gymnast, but it gets the job done and then some. Thirdly, even though it does have issues with the weakness of joints in the ankles and knees, it might be a quality control issue with my particular Dio figure, because my Jotaro figure has nice and stable joints all around. So this might be just something that's isolated to my particular Dio. Another pro to add is just that, as I mentioned earlier, these are high-end products. The combination of action figure functionality in terms of posability and articulation, combined with the high level of detail in the sculpt and paint applications, really results in a wonderful display piece. Because first of all, the sculpting is great. The folds in the clothing and everything really adds to a sense of action and sort of dynamic movement to a stationary object. Add to that, you have many accessories to play around with and pose with your figure. An impeccable paint job, especially with the head area. I mean, again, I'm really impressed by the hair and facial hand painting that was done for this action figure, because it's really rare to see such great quality control there. And yeah, overall, it's just something I really recommend. I mean, there are a few negative points, but all the positive points far outweigh it. And again, keep in consideration that this is a high-end product. This isn't, something that is churned out by the, hundreds and thousands or millions in a factory. I do believe these figures don't have such a high production run. So yeah, you're paying a little extra, but you're getting a lot too. You're not. I do believe you're getting everything that you're paying for, even at a full price of 3,500 yen. If you're an action figure collector in general, definitely consider the Super Action statue line. If you're a JoJo Bizarre Adventure fan, definitely consider getting this. So I do recommend this action figure. So that's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it and got something out of it. And I know these figures don't have a lot of exposure here, so this is hopefully something that's new to you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.